Sometimes it's good to just dance.
Welcome to the Good Stuff Family Podcast. I'm Dawn Kendrick, and I am so glad you're here. These are stories from the perspective of a news reporter on a next-level assignment. Everyone has a story. Stories of hope, resilience, and how we believe God weaves people, relationships, opportunities, all of it for good. For many of us, faith leads our steps, others not so much. But that is what makes this growing Good Stuff family great. We know the journey is better together. Welcome to the family.
Well, I got a suggestion. Sometimes it's good to just dance. Come along.
Good morning. It's Friday morning. That means we are gathered together around the virtual gratitude table, as we call it, for the best part of waking up is waking up. That's what we say. That's what we believe. With me always, Rich Smith and Pastor Charles Eduardo's. Good morning, sunshines.
Good morning. Welcome back. It's good to be alive.
It feels good to be back in the saddle. So we're live from Columbia, Missouri today, a city that in a lot of ways has my heart forever. I went to school at the University of Missouri, and they had a big home opener football game yesterday. So I did the road trip down 70 west from St. Louis and took it all in. And I thought, let's talk about that a little bit today. Not just about how it's always being here is more than just a game. It's a whole vibe. It's a whole energy, and the way that it's grown. Wow. Like, I feel old when we come back. The college students stay the same age. You realize that, right?
Oh, yeah. I live at a college, right? Like, I look around saying, look at all these babies.
But yet the heartstrings here, like, it's palpable for me. It's palpable. I loved my time here, and I see all the good stuff that they're doing. And I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for my dear friend, Robin Wenneker. Wouldn't it be nice if we could have her on? She was nice enough to invite me up here to go to the game. Oh, look who's here. Camera 3, pan right or left, whatever way. Look how technically advanced we are. You guys, this is my friend from way back in the day. We literally go way back. And Rich and Pastor Charles, as you know, if you watch, are joining us from Cleveland. But so it's like all of the strings are tied together for me today. So welcome, Robin.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you getting up early.
Oh, I'm always up early. I just may not be out the door. A little different point. So.
She has so much energy. And yesterday, seriously, you guys, she's like the Kevin Bacon of Columbia, where you can do 6 degrees of separation or whatever, right?
Well, it's only 120,000 people, so maybe don't be too impressed.
And I think you know all of them somehow. It's crazy. She's so good with names and stuff. But you guys, do you remember way back in your college days? Like, it has a special place, doesn't it, when you think back on those days?
Yeah, definitely.
It's fun. Go ahead,
Rich.
I would say it's fun for me because my oldest goes to Kent State, which is where I got my undergrad. And so to get down there and be able to visit and see the sites and see what's changed, and the electric energy of the campus is still the same. It takes me a little longer to climb the hills than it used to, but I still have fun trying.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because this place, tangibly, in the growth that you can see, it blows my mind how much it's evolved. But so no one knows better than Robin, actually, because you lived in this area, you're raised in this area, went to school in this area, and served on the board of curators. What was it, 2000 to 2000? What do we say?
20 to 25.
20 to 25, and even the chair in 25. So
24.
24. So give us a little window for our Missouri listeners of how you see the vibe of this university just expanding exponentially.
One of the things we talked about in 23, I think maybe beginning of 24, is momentum investing. It was kind of a term we coined. And the premise behind that was, coming out of COVID, a lot of people stood still. We authorized an indoor practice facility, a children's hospital. We were finishing building a nursing school. I'm trying to think, we had probably 3 or 4 other really big projects. And so we looked at it as a chance where everyone else was hunkered down. How could you utilize a crisis best and slingshot the university forward? So we just kept pressing. I think we're the only school in the SEC that had that many an academic and an athletic project approved during COVID. That doesn't mean that we don't have work still to do, but we looked at it as an opportunity. And so we kept pressing ahead, and we just have been calling it momentum investing because we know the momentum's really high. And we need to ride that as long as you can. And you can see the change in the students. The students come here just excited to be on campus. They are, they're ready. They're in their black and gold. And one of the most exciting things from doing this work is, I used to live in St. Louis. Dawn and I knew each other from college, but also from St. Louis. And you didn't see black and gold. Then all of a sudden I started being at the gas station. Somebody's wearing Mizzou gear on the way back from St. Louis. I could stop at Bass Pro. They're carrying Mizzou gear. Yeah. I mean, all of a sudden it's kind of permeated our state, which is pretty exciting. And our students feel it and they want to come and be a part of it and get a great education. Let's not minimize that, but hopefully have a great experience and meet their friends, maybe meet their significant other and get those job skills for them to contribute meaningfully to our state and beyond.
This is how I drove up here. I'm a little embarrassed that I've joined. I've jumped on board. Look. Seeing signs of Mizzou all the way from St. Louis, and I passed probably 50 of them, on the way. Because Tiger Pride. And yesterday we won the home opener to set the tone for 2025 season. There's a lot of energy here and it's amazing. They're even expanding. Let's see, didn't I put a picture in here? They're expanding the end zone there. Robin, tell us about that project. You had something to do with that. Of course you did.
Well, that just happened to be why I was on the board. A couple things were going on. One, we were seeing that we have a dynamic coach and Coach Eli Drinkwitz, and that he was creating a culture for our players and for the campus at large. He is very all in. He cares about the broader student perspective. He cares about what's happening at the university. And so with that comes selling games and needing an experience. We didn't increase our capacity, but we increased the experience that donors and students are going to have. So that's a $250 million addition. And it is timed to open next season in 2026, which is the 100-year anniversary of that facility. So that was done on purpose. Yep. So it's a very aggressive timeline. They're working around the clock. They're 3 shifts, 24 hours to get this done in a little over a year. And last night, one of the really fun things was the construction workers were still there working, but they showed them. I mean, during the game. So it's pretty amazing, and it's going to capture the noise all inside the stadium. So it starts to feel more like a very collective experience by closing that end zone. So it should make it just a really dynamic, and it's never lost on me. And then I'll shorten my sentence here. That's the 4th or 5th largest place in the state when we have a football game. Wow. Kansas City and St. Louis are really big, but then you've got St. Joe, Columbia, and Springfield. And when you put that stadium with Columbia, it probably makes it the 3rd largest place in the state. It's and it's probably, other than the Chiefs, the largest place that you have that many people sitting together with a second. So it's an interesting thing to look around and know you're with that many people and everybody's chosen to be there.
And I think like how proud I am to be part of it. And it's Faroe Field. So Don Faroe, again, he was, when I was in college, he was this living legend, this legacy that he leaves too, right? Don Faroe.
Right. I was going to say, he's kind of was an elder statesman, right?
He was he would golf his age, my grandpa used to say, like in his 80s or whatever, right? He mowed his own lawn. And so when I was in journalism school, our very first project at KBIA, right? They still have it?
Yes,
the radio project. I called him and I said, could I do an interview? It was good stuff way back then, right? And I didn't know it yet, right? And they said, sure, come over, he and his wife. And so
Mary?
Yes. And they were you just want to soak them up, those kind of people that you want to be close to, right? And I had my little Radio Shack. Do they even have Radio Shack anymore? There aren't even any more Radio Shacks.
They were amazing, but they're gone.
They're gone too.
I know.
A moment of silence for our youth and for Radio Shack. But the little cassette that you go, I went with my dad to buy it, has a little microphone. And I brought it to the Faroes' home and I sat in the living room and recorded the interview and said thank you and gave him a hug and went to my car. And I realized, oh crap, I left it on the table. I left the tape recorder on the table. So I had to go back, get it. Well, when I'm listening to the tape, this might surprise you. Tape, literally, it's a cassette. Listen to me. I'm listening back to it. And at the end, because it was still rolling when I left, I did like an investigative reporter move and didn't even know
What did
it.
they say
And
about the interview?
It was not calculated, but it was, you hear her say, oh, well, she was very lovely. She was nice girl, something. And there's a pause. And my moment that I'll always remember from Don Farrell, he says, and I quote, pause, she sure can talk. No, but I grew up to get paid to talk eventually, so it worked. But I just say, I was thinking about them when we were at the field. Like, that's beyond our last breath. It's legacy beyond our last breath. And we're going to point out that here I'm driving up in a spirit of celebration for the game. Minutes after I meet with you, she got news that a good friend of yours passed unexpectedly. I know it. And you couldn't even process it yesterday because she knows everybody. So this morning she had a moment. Unexpectedly 40s, married and with kids. So, but here's the thing. We say it all the time on this podcast. If today is a gift, what are we going to do with it? The breath in our lungs, right? Pastor Charles, Rich? Yeah.
Absolutely. That it's how we live. And just talking with Rich a little bit before the podcast this morning, we get so caught up in religious traditions and doing things the right way according to our particular church. And it's just, the law of love. Love. Jesus even said, love God with everything you got and love your neighbor as yourself. So everything just distills down to love. Like the four prophets out of Liverpool, John, Paul, Ringo, and George. All you need is love.
Isn't it? It really does. And so whoever's listening, how does that speak to you today? We don't have to solve all the problems today. Met a friend of hers who had a serious car accident. Mm-hmm. Girlfriend stood by him.
Just had started dating, and and they clearly are very serious. It probably changes a relationship when you have to decide if you're going to be all in with someone through a terrible time.
And she stood by him. And so there are stories of hope all over the place. And so we just submit that for our listeners today. What is it that you're up against? And today is the day that we get to use for good, to see the good in others and to be the good for them. And that's it. That's all we have to do today. What's the Bible verse about? Tomorrow's problems will take care of themselves.
Take care of themselves. Yep. It's in the Synoptic Gospels. I think all three, Mark, Matthew, and Luke, have that. And that's what it is. We're so worried about, tomorrow, next week, and it just stay in the moment. All you got is now.
And I know that has to preach to anyone listening. Rich, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just living in the moment. That's what I was just saying that to my students yesterday. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to get throughout your semester. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of life that's going to happen. And something wasn't working in the room yesterday. And my phrase was tech happens. And so you work through it, but you focus in on the now, because we can't possibly compound what's happening. We don't know what's going to be there. We can't expect anyone to project what's going to happen tomorrow. So just worry about the now, and the rest of it will fall into place later.
How do you encourage people to do that?
Yeah,
I'm one of those people who thinks too far out. I do that to a fault at times.
Right. And when I find myself in those moments myself, right, like as humans do, we worry about everything. I just list out the things that I can achieve today. And oftentimes when my oldest calls me from college and is kind of spazzing out about those kinds of things, I said, okay, that's great. Let's make a list of things. Let's make things that are in your control and a list of things that are not in your control. And let's focus on those things that are in our control right now. What are the things we can solve right now? And then we'll worry about those other things as they come around.
And even asking the question, what is the most important thing I need to accomplish right now? Yep. What is the most important thing? I ask myself every morning, okay, I know I got my to-do list that goes on till, I think it goes through 2069. But what's the most important thing I need to do today?
Amen. That's it. And for us, it's humility and gratitude. They go a long way. Humility and gratitude for where we are now, when our hopes, our our intentions and our to-do list isn't where we thought it was going to be. How about right now staying rooted in gratitude and humility and trusting that he will in fact work all things together for good? It's easier said than done. It truly is. And I know every single person represented on this podcast, people listening, I think it's relatable. It's the one thing that connects all of us that we don't get forever. So what are we going to do with today? That's it. I believe that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and one more thing, and don't forget to ask for help. There are people there. Don't be so consumed with getting your own stuff done that you can't look to collaborate or work with somebody else to help you along the way. We're not perfect beings, but together we're stronger beings.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. And they had two quarterbacks yesterday that hadn't settled on one. Coach Drinkwitz hadn't settled on one. And this Pribula, we think is how we say it. Pribula,
I think.
Okay, good answer. Bo is his name. And they're saying, are you a Bo leaver now? Because he killed it yesterday. He was amazing. I mean, it was a blowout game. But it occurs to me the other one, this Sam Horn, who's very talented.
And has been here a long time, paying his dues. But dual threat athlete, also been playing baseball, had some injuries.
That's right. Yes.
So, I mean, he's had an interesting career, but what a great person who just cheered for the team and stayed there and is cheering for his teammates. So if he may not, I don't know what the verdict is, so I don't want to predispose
but
that.
yesterday he only got him for one play, I think, and he's injured, you know.
But I saw he had a brace on this morning in the news, but he never stopped supporting his teammates, even though he may not get the dream that he initially came here for.
That's it. But that if he's
it may be his dream that he got to participate.
Correct.
We may not know what the full dream is.
And the grace to be able to say, this is my role right now, to cheer on the team.
Yes.
And to celebrate Bo for what he's doing. How many, myself included, to celebrate, okay, the people who, when we look around and we're like, that imposter syndrome or whatever, like, right? Like, I'll have what she's having. I want that, or right?
Yeah.
No, what if we could just realize what he's working, and maybe it's an opportunity, present company included, to sit in humility and gratitude for what is right here, right now, right?
True.
But doesn't that connect to the fact that, and we're inculcated from birth, we're all programmed, right. And hopefully as we grow older, we start to recognize some of those programs. And one of the programs that we've gotten from birth is our individuality, and where there is a degree of individuality. Everyone is unique. There is no two people, even identical twins are not identical. They're different individuals. And at the same time, we are all connected. We're all connected.
We are. And that's when we say God weaves, now watch him work. Like, it's ridiculous every single place we go. So I submit to you today, my friend, that you have already created such a legacy here. And it's because she believes in what's happening here, and she invests, and her whole mojo is to uplift, encourage, and inspire other people, kids coming up, family. How many families did we meet? She knows their kids, right? This is legacy.
I like people. I always tease people that if I've met you, you're in my collection. I'm not letting go of you. So I think people are fascinating. It's amazing to learn their stories, and it's an honor to watch people grow. It's partly my favorite part about being in a college town is watching how, especially, and I don't get to know a ton of students, but get to know some, how much they change from freshmen to seniors. You know, their decision making, their ability to think about their own happiness, their independence. I was teasing a friend last night. I had coffee with his daughter. She's been here 4 days on campus, and I said, "How's it going? Are you feeling settled?" She said, "I can tell I miss my dogs." And I was telling her dad this. He goes, "So she doesn't miss her parents?" I said, no. Dogs is the code word for parent. She's just not going to tell you. I think she's saying she's going to come home to see the dogs, but she wants to see you. So it's a privilege to get to be around young people at this kind of formative time in their lives. I mean, we got to invest in them and hope that they see all the opportunities that exist for them, and that they can, live true to themselves and find their purpose. And we'll see. I'm taking a group in a couple weeks out to dinner, and I'm excited. It's award winners. We had an amazing student a couple of years ago who was killed by a drunk driver, and it was the guy's seventh time he'd done this, and he was just brilliant. He just graduated from law school and was studying for the bar and went to go get something to eat, and the guy T-boned him, and we created an award in this kid's honor because he was an uplifter. And so now that I'm not on the board anymore, I'm going to every year take these kids out to dinner and just find out what's their future, and then tell them a little bit about our student, because it was important to us to give an award for what we ask of these students and how they're selected is to uplift their university, uplift their peers, and be people of character. And so I'm excited to spend time,
Write that down. That's
to
good.
spend time with them and learn their journey and where they are. So
awesome. And you just do a mission?
I did. I went to Guatemala.
Convoy. Do you love her, you guys? I mean, I love her so much.
Well, Convoy of Hope, and it's out of Missouri. And I knew about it. It is out of Springfield, Missouri, and they're around the world. And I got invited to go on a mission trip with our former First Lady, Teresa Parson, to go up in the hills. And they have women empowerment and do, kind of that thought of microloans, women learning how, or wanting to have their own businesses, but their economy is really not built to sustain that. So we did that there. I have an agriculture background. We're in farming. So they're teaching them how to grow gardens and how to help supply their neighbors in these little communities. We are way up in the hills. So it's pretty fascinating. And then they brought these women together. Not all of them have come out of great situations. Some of them have had to have the courage to think about how to change their path, and they're in a program. They'll have a graduation, so we're going to watch their graduation virtually in Guatemala here in about a month. So it's pretty cool. But the one thing I learned about it is in North Carolina, if you remember the horrible devastation in North Carolina a couple of years ago, they're the ones still there. So they're often the first, but they're also almost always the last to leave. Right. And it's a pretty cool group. It's evangelical. I'm trying to think which it's connected with the Advent Church, but it's pretty compelling what the work they're doing around the world. So we're lucky to have it in our state. And we just had tornadoes here, and they were there immediately with chainsaws and just all the things so that people can get through the. I mean, they are just hands-on and very God-driven. I mean, they are very centered on what their life's purpose is. It's very, very. It was overwhelming in a lot of ways to see.
And it occurs to me, I put your Chiron in there as bleeds black and gold because you're so invested. But look at this one person. That's a ridiculously inadequate title for you. Like, we don't have enough room to put all of the ways that you have affected good, that you have seen the good in others and been the good for them.
Thank you.
I celebrate her so much. She is such an encourager, you guys. Like, she's your new friend now too, from all the way from Cleveland.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
even with, I mean, you're demonstrating how easy it is to make a difference.
There it is.
It's not difficult. And then it becomes like a catalytic conversion. It just spreads to other people and everything. And that's awesome. You are living the gospel.
I hope so. That's partly the goal.
You're preaching without words. You're preaching with your actions.
No, thank you. Because I can't pull up a fast Bible quote or a Bible passage like you can. That is not my skill, but I hope so. You hope to lead the world better. That's the goal by the end of this life.
You certainly have.
And that's the thing, the word written on your heart. It's written on your heart and comes out through your actions. That's what really matters. No,
thank you. It's been fun to get to spend time with you. I bet my segment's almost up because you may have somebody else waiting.
Well, he hasn't clicked in yet. We were gonna talk to Mark Schmitz, but he had to drop his daughters off. I told him he said after 7:15. So we've got about 10 minutes left. Okay. Is that you saying you got to go?
No. I just wanted to not.
She's like,
I didn't want to take somebody else's time. That's all.
To go, people to see that she's.
And see, look at that. Consider it.
That's right.
Yeah. How many people
I also want to keep her on time. That was part of it too.
Like when I would be in news, they only give you 1:30, and I'd be like, I'm an artist, and words are my paint. I need 2 minutes, and they're like, you need to pick a smaller canvas. Right? It's true. No, so we try to keep it to a half an hour. So I hope he will click in, but he was going to add some perspective for us today as well, because on the way driving here yesterday on 70 west from St. Louis to Columbia, I passed the Jared Schmitz Memorial Bridge. He was a Marine Lance Corporal, one of the 13 who died, the Freedom 13. It was 4 years ago on the 26th when we were supposed to be pulling out of Afghanistan. If you remember the visuals of that plane with people hanging off the plane, and remember? And what he's doing in the wake of that unthinkable loss is massive. It's massive. They're building these retreat centers all across the country for veterans who are coming back trying to decompress. They can hunt, fish, hike, bring their family for a week. They'll have homes on there, like a B&B, to say thank you, right? And it's all in the name of these 13 young servicemen and women who gave their lives. They ultimately gave the Gold Star families that continue to pay the price. It's, and it's in their name that they're seeing the good and being the good for these veterans. It's super cool. And I was hoping he could click in and give us an update, because it's a massive project. I think when we interviewed him a year ago at the 3-year anniversary, they were going to do 50 recreational retreat camps was the plan, I believe, in 50 states, about 100 acres of land each, which would be 50,000 plus acres. Think about that. In 13 of these retreat homes on each one, 650 homes nationwide. That's the goal.
Wow.
And it comes from
Pain. From pain. I was just texting with my friend who passed away's wife. She just sent me a text this morning. So
See, that's it.
yeah,
And none of us get forever. We don't know. But in the meantime, what are we going to do with it? Like that's huge. And it's encouraging, because we can, if we have breath in our lungs, even if not, I'm thinking of people I know who are even nonverbal, who are speaking volumes, Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. By their example. So hopefully he'll be able to join us. But if not, we want to make sure. I'm going to put the, it's the Freedom 13, not Freedom 13, but the freedom13.org. Okay, this is his Chiron that has it up there. And then what I'm going to do in the show notes, I'm going to put a link to the Angels of Abbey Gate Memorial Ride is this Saturday. And if y'all want to register today, you get the discount, but you can also show up $10 more or something on Saturday. That's for St. Louis or Missouri viewers who might want to participate in that, to be able to say that you are helping. And it's imagine the massive amount of money it's going to take to do this. It's a big, lofty project. So there it is, the freedom13.org. And let's go ahead and, because we are getting close on time, I might text him here in a minute, but this is it. I can remove us here. There we go. There it is. So this is how you can get in touch with him if you want to know more, if you want to help donate. And here's Jared. There he is. I mean, he was young. He was 20 years old. Rich,
Wow.
Pastor Charles, 20 years old.
Wow.
Right? So we remember him today. Again, it was the 26th that marked 4 years since he passed, since he paid the ultimate price. And here are some examples of the land that they're looking.
oh wow.
Yeah. So imagine to be able to unplug, you're a veteran, and then these are what they're going to look like on the inside. I think when we talked a year ago, they had just acquired one that already had buildings
beautiful.
on it. Yes. To be able to unplug. And
There's a new term called forest bathing.
oh,
And it is being in nature and what it does for your spirit.
oh,
And letting nature kind of bathe over you.
wow.
And there is nothing like just getting out in nature, taking off your shoes and letting your feet, your bare feet connect with the ground.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
It's gorgeous.
I was thinking I should probably go for a walk. I love the MKT trail here. Another jewel in the crown of Columbia.
Columbia is, one of those top 20. I think it's like the number 3 or 4 best college town in the
I'm telling
country.
you,
it's
I
a
believe that.
cute town.
It is, and it's growing by leaps and bounds, and it has people like Robin Wenneker in it, doing good, seeing the good in others, and being the good for them. So I'm keeping an eye on the time. Anything else, Rich, Pastor Charles? Anything else to wrap up?
I want to roll back the hands of time and let my hair grow back out and be 20 years old again and come to Columbia and go to Missouri.
Come visit. I'll show you around.
Rich, I went to Benedictine. We were the Tigers, the Bengals. Benedictine
That's right.
Bengals, so
Bengal Tigers, yeah.
I should have tried to pull up some pictures from when I was in college. Big hair, if we sum it up in 2 words. That picture. Huge hair. I don't even know how.
Well, the brand of hairspray, Vavoom, or I think it was the one I used to have really big hair. It was sticky.
And that's how I'm like, I don't know if that's ever coming back, like the feathers, but I hope
It
not.
does in costume. It's not meant as a real
Right.
commitment to it.
All right.
When I grew up, it was a fire hazard. They had so much stuff in it that
We did.
you could walk around. Yeah.
That's funny. Pastor Charles, a moment of
Ma'am.
silence for your hair, and Rich. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it.
You know what? You don't have to take one from me. I left it behind and didn't look back. I was so excited. It was one less thing to have to do in the morning.
I love it.
Easy care. I
That's
comb
right.
my hair with a washcloth.
Yeah.
The best.
But
Oh,
you know, I
and-
would just leave. You know, if you didn't have a great week this week, guys, it's okay. Just try again next week. That's the beautiful message I'm going to leave you guys today. Like, it starts fresh each day, each week. Just if you didn't have the week you wanted, then try again next week.
Amen. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. There it is. And
And to piggyback on that, all things work together for good for those that love the Lord and are called according to his purposes. It may look bad in the moment, but just wait a minute. If your heart is right, it's going to start to blossom and come out, and everything's going to be all right.
There you go.
And you know, when you said you don't have a Bible verse, now you do. Romans 8:28. That's what he just quoted. He works all
Yeah.
things together for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And that's when the word becomes the living word, when we can really anchor into it.
Yes.
It's true.
Yes.
It's true. It's true. It works for us. It's working for us. It's a practice.
I do know 1 Corinthians. I don't want to act like I don't. You know, the greatest of these is love.
Oh, there you go. It is.
Okay.
And it's
All
really
right.
simple, actually.
1 Corinthians 13.
Whether you quote Bible verses or not, love God, love people. Done.
There it
There
is.
it is.
And you
There
got to
it
love
is.
yourself. You do have to love
that's
yourself to
good.
do good
Ah,
things.
Okay.
Not the easiest part of it, but
Yeah, and what if we saw ourselves the way God sees us, and
Right.
in the way others? Sometimes we're our own worst critic. You know,
Yeah,
it's
give yourself some grace. I say that all the time, right? Give yourself some grace. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is the first time Robin's joining us. Maybe not the last. Maybe we keep checking in with you.
love it.
But this is what we say when we wrap these up. We say it's not hard to do, you guys. It's not hard to do. Let's see if she can catch up or follow the phrase that we're about to do, because
Okay.
I didn't tell you.
Okay.
It's a pretty simple one. This is what we say. Not hard to do. See the good in others. Be the good for them. On your mark, get set. Let's
go.
Sometimes it's good to just dance.
You've been listening to Don Kendrick's The Good Stuff Family Podcast. If you found inspiration here, would you click subscribe, follow, share as we grow our Good Stuff family tree? Check out thegoodstufffamily.com for links to all our social media platforms and for how you or your business could sponsor a story. The Good Stuff Family, reaching and touching hearts around the world by weaving families together one story at a time.
When you got a
On your mark,
problem,
get set, let's go.
well, I got a suggestion. Sometimes it's good to just dance. Come along,